Okay, so I want you to think about what you imagine when you hear the term augmented reality. It usually is focused on devices, looking through those devices into the world and seeing some kind of overlay of the imaginary or some overlay of enterprise information that you need for your business. Well, so I'm from the theater department, and we've been augmenting reality for thousands of years, and we think about it in a much more expansive way. And really look at the devices and the technology of the time as just a piece of how we create experiences. And so what I want to talk about today is this transition in thinking about augmented reality as an app or a tool to a key part of how we experience entertainment, art, culture, sports in the future. And look at this at the intersection of really two trends that we see already today. One is this increasing emphasis on innovative, immersive experiences in real life. So if you look at 2-Bit Circus in LA or Meow Wolf in New Mexico, the people that are creating places that we go to interact with things physically. And then at the same time, to look at the trend of augmented reality as a collaborative and constructive, a participatory, open world environment, like this idea for Minecraft Earth that Microsoft has, right? So you go out into the world and build things together. And what we found, though, is that for the types of experiences that we would like to create, working with AR just based on what you can do on a device that somebody carries into a space or carries into a venue isn't enough, right? It doesn't really reflect all of the things going on that you don't see through the device. And in fact, the more dynamic and exciting the experience is, the more likely we want to go and see and be a part of it, the less likely the way that we think about AR today is going to work. And in fact, this is the key problem that our group at UCLA is focusing on, which is a joint center between the School of Engineering and the School of Theater, Film, and Television. And so I'm also an engineer, and I think about problems by decomposing them. And if you decompose a little bit that notion of augmented reality, we have a phone that has a sensor scanning the world, right, looking for what's going on in real life and getting a slice of that. And it's informing a virtual world that could be as sophisticated as we want, that's evolving, but that virtual world is only as good as the data that it's getting from that sensor, from that device. And then we take that information, create this virtual world up there at the top, and put it back into the device and see a small slice of that experience coming back to us on this device that we're carrying. And so our company and the products that it's going to produce is about sort of breaking open that model of phone-based AR. And first, adding sensors to venues where experience happens. So for example, cameras that would instrument this facility to give information about very dynamic experiences, things like live performance, active learning environments, location-based entertainment, sports venues, things that are in motion outside of the view of any one user's camera, and give that intelligence to the venue and to the experience in order to create much more dynamic, open world, persistent AR overlays. And in fact, to break out of the phone as the delivery device for that augmented experience, or the only delivery device for that augmented experience as well. So to put virtual elements not just back on the display, but out into the environment in a coordinated way. And so this product, this way of looking at AR, is thinking about how do we add venue intelligence to our augmented reality experiences. And this comes from our on-campus experimentation, I think in a very unique thing that's only happening at UCLA, which is how do we mix augmented reality and immersive experience? How do we take AR out of, again, these focused, sort of constrained environments and into experiences that are exciting? So just to give a kind of very practical example, here we have two players on your right that are, on my right I guess, that are dragons. And in fact, a few are in the audience here and a couple of other players on the left who can't see them through the wall with traditional augmented reality. And so what Xra Vision, this platform for venue intelligence, does is to sense all of these players, whether they're carrying phones or not, manage and orchestrate an experience that's based on the data knowing where they are, inform that AR device in its coordinate system, and in this case, tell either these prey or these dragon slayers where these people are behind the wall, and give them this sort of X-ray vision through the environment, into the environment that's not based just on phone-based AR. So I'm going to move quickly now just to a quick note on the business model and our approach, and talk briefly about how we start with venues. So of course we're installing the system in venues, but in those venues are devices that are scaling up much more rapidly than the number of venues that we have to work with. And so our goal is to take this technology out away from a venue-based model towards a user-based model for revenue. And so we're happy to talk a little bit more about this afterwards, but if you can imagine that instead of paying for hardware like you might have used to in a venue, you could actually share your per user revenue, just a tiny slice of it with this company, in order to be able to lower your capital investment and get one of these tracking systems in your venue for your experiences. So we have a great team that I'm happy to share more about, and we're actively moving forward to a public trial based on an Emmy Award-winning and Hugo Award-winning property, and this is what we want to speak to you about out in the courtyard. Thanks.